INFJs, you were programmed from childhood to suffer. Here's why. INFJs, your pain didn't just happen. It was planted, deliberately and repeatedly, by experiences that taught you to shrink while appearing whole. You weren't just raised, you were programmed. Not overtly. Not with obvious cruelty. But in quiet moments of dismissal. In subtle expectations to perform emotional labor. In praise that was conditional, and love that arrived only when you were convenient. You were groomed to be the helper, the fixer, the one who carried everyone else's weight while burying your own. Your emotional intelligence wasn't nurtured for your well-being, it was used to make others' lives easier. Before you even knew your own name in full, you were cast in roles you didn't audition for: the peacekeeper, the confidant, the emotional anchor in a sea of family dysfunction. Let's begin. 1. You were taught that love must be earned. From a young age, love wasn't a language spoken freely, it was a reward system. You were showered with affection only when you were quiet, polite, and pleasing. Your real needs, emotional support, freedom to feel big feelings, even space to be messy, were labeled as too much. You quickly learned, I'm only lovable when I disappear into what others want me to be. Maybe you were praised for being so mature when you didn't cry after being hurt. But the one time you showed anger or tears, you were met with silence, rolled eyes, or don't be dramatic. So you learned to internalize everything. You became emotionally low maintenance, even invisible, just to keep love around. As adults, INFJs carry this programming into relationships, careers, and even friendships. We overgive, hoping our generosity will finally earn us the unconditional love we never received. We endure emotional crumbs, believing if we just give a little more, we'll be enough. Practice this self-affirmation: I am worthy of love, even when I offer nothing but my presence. 2. You were rewarded for being invisible. Being a good kid often meant being quiet. Being easy. Being less. You weren't encouraged to be vibrant or bold, you were praised for staying out of the way. You were punished not with anger, but with disappointment, comparison, or silence. So you learned to dim your light before anyone could ask you to. You were told, why can't you be more like your sibling? Or you're too sensitive. You tried to share your deep thoughts, and someone mocked your seriousness. So you stopped. INFJs become master shapeshifters. We slip into the version of ourselves others expect. We abandon our own voice to keep the peace. Eventually, we forget what our voice even sounds like. INFJ, do one small thing daily that makes you seen, wear something bold, post your truth online, speak up in a conversation. 3. You confused hyper-awareness with safety. Your body learned to scan for danger like a sonar. You memorized the signs of an incoming storm: tight jawlines, heavy footsteps, a certain shift in energy. This vigilance was your safety net. If you could anticipate the pain, maybe you could avoid it. You knew how to read the air at home, how to calm people down before things exploded. You weren't just aware. You were constantly on emotional high alert. As adults, INFJs continue this pattern. We interpret every silence, every shift in tone, every delayed reply as potential rejection. Our nervous systems are wired to anticipate pain, even when we're safe. 4. You were punished for having boundaries. You weren't allowed to have preferences, limits, or personal space. Saying no came with consequences, guilt, withdrawal, or shaming. So you complied. You smiled through discomfort. You said yes when you meant no. Because you didn't want to lose love. You didn't want to hug someone, but your parent forced you. You asked for alone time, and they accused you of being rude or selfish. INFJs grow up believing boundaries equals rejection. We either let everyone in, or slam the emotional door shut. Balance feels unsafe. Phrase to practice: INFJs, practice using phrases like "that doesn't work for me." No explanation needed. 5. You were pressured to be perfect. You weren't allowed to be messy. You had to be the smart one, the kind one, the strong one. Your value came from performance, not presence. So you became your own worst critic. You carried an invisible report card through life, terrified of getting anything less than an A. You brought home a 95% and were asked, why not 100%? Or you were the sibling who never got in trouble, because you knew being flawless kept the love coming. INFJs internalize the belief, I must be exceptional to be acceptable. But perfection is a prison. We rarely feel done, and we fear failing in front of others. Celebrate small risks, applaud yourself for trying, not just succeeding. 6. You were conditioned to be the emotional caretaker. You weren't a child, you were a therapist with training wheels. You learned to read the room, sense emotional weather, and soothe your caregivers long before you could spell the word emotion. Your nervous system became a radar for distress. Because if they were upset, you weren't safe. Maybe your parent vented about their job or their relationship with the other parent. Maybe you were the one calming your younger sibling during their tantrums, or holding space for your caregiver's breakdowns while never having one yourself. This taught you to center other people's feelings while denying your own. In adulthood, you feel responsible for everyone's emotional well-being. If someone is upset near you, you can't relax. You become a sponge, soaking up what's not yours, trying to fix pain that doesn't belong to you. Practice sitting with discomfort, allow someone to cry or vent without jumping in to solve. Hold space without self-abandoning. 7. You were never truly seen. The most painful wound for an INFJ isn't being disliked, it's being misunderstood. You had a rich, expansive inner world, but those around you didn't know how to enter it. Or worse, they didn't care to. You were praised for surface traits, kindness, politeness, but no one asked what kept you up at night. People told you, you're so quiet, as if that was all there was. Meanwhile, your inner world was blooming with poetry, ideas, and visions you never shared. INFJs often feel like spiritual or emotional orphans. The ache of being unseen becomes a belief, to be loved, I must stay hidden. Affirm, I am no longer waiting to be seen. I choose to see myself now. INFJ, you weren't born broken. You were shaped to survive in systems that never understood your depth. But now, it's time to unlearn the suffering. This isn't just a breakdown of your childhood. It's a breakthrough into your power. You are allowed to speak, to feel, to choose, to change, to protect, to rest, and most of all, to be loved as yourself. If this spoke to you, INFJ, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment about the childhood belief you're ready to let go of. And don't forget to subscribe, because this is just the beginning of your awakening. Welcome back to yourself. Stay safe, and see you in the next one.